we connect your everyday life in countless ways. Your everyday switch is our day-to-day passion. We are your electrical connection. A group consisting of over 2,000 individuals dedicated to bringing you unparalleled service, technical advice with an unsurpassed passion for the market, whilst continuing to ensure that a high level of empowerment equity is evident at every level. Housing a comprehensive range of products, including local and leading international brands. All products undergo rigorous testing and meet the industry safety standards. We supply the widest range of electrical and related products through our numerous specialized supply divisions and distribution outlets strategically located across Southern Africa. Through this diverse network, we service the agricultural, mining, manufacturing, construction, commercial, retail, wholesale, and communication sectors with a variety of niche products, solutions, and services. Whether you are switching on a light at home or powering up an entire factory floor, you are more than likely utilizing one of our products or solutions. We are Voltex, a proudly Bidvest company. We are your electrical connection.
Good afternoon and welcome everybody. Just checking if everyone can hear and see me all right. I did have a little bit of a technical issue a little bit earlier on. So if you wouldn't mind, just let me know in the chat section if you can hear me and see me. I am Robin from Voltex Marketing, and today we'll be joined by Stephen and Guy from Pioled. We are super excited for this webinar. Hello to you guys.
Hello. Hey, hello.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We have received such positive feedback for all the LED webinars we've put forward so far. So today we have yet another really exciting one, and I would like everyone to stay with us till the end of the presentation because there will be a special offer that we'll be launching for you guys. So do stay tuned for that one. As I mentioned, I am Robin from the Voltex Marketing Department. We will resume as usual in terms of our Q&A session that we have after the presentation. I'll hand over to Steve and Guy over here shortly. And if you have any questions, please do feel free to leave them in the chat section throughout the presentation. And you can shop Pioled through the Voltex distribution network as well as our online store. And that's it from my side. I'm going to hand over to you guys.
Right. Thank you, Robin. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This is our first webinar that we're doing with Voltex. We're very excited to be here. Apologies if I do seem a little nervous. The webcam does not have a very wide angle and social distancing is a bit of a problem here. So today we'll be discussing some confusing LED terminology as well as presenting to you some of our latest products that are available. And as Robin said, if you stick around to the end of the webinar, we'll have a special offer for you as well. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, so as Guy said, this is our first webinar that we've ever done with Voltex. It's actually our first webinar we've ever done as Pioled Lighting. So super exciting for us, and it's something new. So yeah, we'll be looking forward to it. This is one of many that we have already signed up with Voltex, so there will be more to come if we miss out on any terms or anything for future episodes. First off, we want to start with something that, with this webinar, we're trying to, help you guys understand different terminologies that you might find on boxes of LED products, or you might find it on specification or data sheets, and you're just not 100% sure what those terms are, or you might get slightly confused. So the first thing we want to go into is CCT, which is otherwise known as correlated color temperature, often referred to in Kelvin ratings. So what we've done is we've got a little diagram at the bottom of the screen, or a little picture, in fact, which is quite easy for you guys to see just how the different Kelvin ratings will affect color temperatures. So it starts off at 1,000 Kelvin all the way up to 10,000 Kelvin. And you can see at 1,000 Kelvin, you've got a more orangey, warmer hue to it, going all the way up to 10,000 K, which becomes a lot more bluer. And so the reason why us as Pioled Lighting prefer to work in terms of Kelvin ratings is because it can get a little bit confusing for, the electrician, the contractor, or the end user. When it comes to fluorescence and all of that, previous technologies, guys used to call cool white 4,000 Kelvin, and daylight was 6,000 K. So, a lot of the time we get salesmen asking us, oh, can I have a cool white product, expecting 4,000 Kelvin, but getting a 6,000 K, and it's often could be the incorrect product. And the only way in which that can be alleviated is to work with Kelvin ratings. And that 3,000 K, 4,000 K and 6,000 K, what you're ordering is what you're going to be getting. There won't be any confusions. First off, I want to obviously talk about my personal favorite. That's the Walmart 3,000 Kelvin color temperature. Something that I prefer to have in my residential place. It's something that's nice, it's warm, it's cozy, and it helps you to relax and switch off. And it's very common color temperature, and also the retail environment, as well as the hospitality and restaurant trade. You'll find a lot of your restaurants that are always busy and packed often go with the 3,000 Kelvin color temperature, as it's quite an inviting and relaxing color temperature, and can get the patrons to sit and enjoy the meals. And you'll often find that those restaurants with that color temperature generally tend to fill up.
Thank you, Stephen. My personal preference, and becoming quite popular in the market at the moment, is the 4,000 Kelvin color temperature. It's getting quite popular because it has a very balanced tone. It's not too warm, it's not too cool. So therefore it can be used in your office environments where it won't make you sleepy, it won't give you a headache from looking at the computer screen for too long, or looking at documents on your desk for too long. Also, it's used in the retail environment, as it gives a very good color clarity when trying to highlight your merchandise within your store. It's also quite popular within the residential setting because it is quite a soft light as well. It's not too harsh on the eye, and is quite suitable for residential applications like within your kitchens or bathrooms and that kind of application.
And also, we've spoken to a lot of engineers and a lot of consultants, and the preferred color temperature, be it for office lighting, even street lighting, in fact, goes with the 4,000 Kelvin color temperature. And also the main reason for that is it's not a color temperature that's going to make people feel too relaxed and become a little bit sleepy. And, it's a color temperature that's going to keep you awake, but it's not going to be straining your eyes at a constant. It's definitely is a color temperature that is going to make workplace environments more productive. But going on to the next one is 6,000 Kelvin. And that's a color temperature that Pioled believes to be the best cool white color temperature on the market. The reason for that is it is cool white. Cool white can be harsh on the eyes, and the higher in Kelvin rating you go, the bluer the color temp, the bluer the light emits. So for Pioled, 6,000 K is absolutely suitable for most task lighting environments, be it in workplaces, be it in critical task areas where guys are manufacturing. It helps provide clarity, and guys are able to prevent workplace injuries. It also keeps guys alert for the majority of the time. So we find that 6,000 K is a lot better than, especially when you look at the 6.5, maybe even 7,000 Kelvin rated products, as we find that to be too blue and it does put a lot of strain on the eyes.
But it also, once again, it does depend on your personal preference whether to use cool white in your residential applications. It depends on your paint schemes, on your furniture, or your appliances. You know, it really does depend on your personal preference within the home use whether to use 6,000 Kelvin.
100%. And 6,000 K is by far our most popular color temperature. It's just not something that's going to go necessarily well if you have wood in your house. It's not going to complement the wood, whereas 6,000 K might complement more modern color schemes. So it is very much down to preference of the end user or the customer. But it's, yeah, as I say, we do offer all three color temperatures. Another thing that, just before we leave the slide, that you may have noticed is the CCT wording. Now, that is a wording that has become synonymous with the Pioled brand. We've got the Iris luminaires, the little round ceiling lights, which can be recessed or they can be surface mounted. And those products become in the CCT variant. So the nice thing about that is you can pre-select your color temperature before you're installing. So it's nice for the wholesalers as well as for the end user or the contractor, who can therefore go to the shop before they install it for the customer. They can go and say, oh, maybe in your lounge, do you want to go 3,000 K and relax while you're watching TV? Whereas in your kitchen, where it's going to be a higher task environment, let's put it up to 4,000 or 6,000 Kelvin. So you get all those color temperatures in one product. We do also have that product, the CCT variants, coming out in our backlit panels. They'll be arriving at the end of the month, which you guys might have already seen on our Facebook page.
Thank you, Stephen. Just to add that, we also do have the 18-watt bulkhead modules in the CCT variant as well.
Yeah. All right, so on the next slide, we're going to be going through the differences between wattage, lumens, and lux. Look, back in the day with HID lamps, be it halogens, whatever the case was, you always knew whether you were buying 100 watt or 150 or 200 watt. As you went up, you knew what lumen output you were to expect. Also, you knew if you were going from a 150 watt to a 200 watt, you knew that the 200 watt was going to be a brighter light source. However, when it comes to LEDs and the technology in the LED, we don't necessarily look at wattage as much as we used to. We're now looking at a different side of things, which is going to be called lumen output. So on an LED product, I mean, you might find that 150 watt LED floodlight versus a 200 watt, our brand's 150 watt floodlight might be brighter than some of the other brands out there in their 200 watt variants. You might find that our price is slightly higher, but the lumen output is greater than somebody else's. So in breaking down lumen outputs, you get raw and you get effective lumen outputs. So the raw lumen output is, it's actually got, to be fair, for the end user, it means nothing to them. Raw lumen output, there's no point in me as a supplier going and telling you guys this is what my raw lumen output is, because that is something that we're going to look for when we are purchasing LED chips to go into our luminaires. So the raw lumen output is the LED chips themselves, what they are actually producing. The effective lumen output, however, is a lumen output that comes out of the actual LED product. So that would be afterlight losses, such as your optics, and through your power supply, and all of the relevant light losses that before the lumen output that comes out of the LED product. So the raw lumen output, although it's a good gauge for us, it's not really ideal. Well, it's not a selling point for us because it means nothing technically for the end user. The effective lumen output is something that you always want to make sure you're being quoted at by your LED suppliers. So yeah, that's the two main differences. That effective lumen output is what you want to be looking at, and that will tell you the output of the actual luminaire.
Right, so moving on to lux. What is lux and how does it compare to lumens? So lumens is the total light output emitted by a fitting in all directions, whereas lux is more of a measurement at the light intensity measured on a specific surface or on a reference plane within your space. Right, so why is that important? Well, it's important because you want to make sure that the light intensity is suitable for the purpose that you want to achieve in that particular space. So for instance, in a general warehouse area, you may only need 100 lux, whereas in an office environment, you might need 300 to 500 lux. Whereas on a tennis court where you're playing under HD TV cameras, there you would need to have 2000 and above lux. So lux is very important when it comes to the design of your particular space. All right, so moving on to...
Just one thing to add to the lux thing. You got to remember that lumen outputs and how does that determine your lux? So your lux is measured based on the beam angle of the actual LED product. That's how the lumen output comes into account. So your beam angle of your LED product, as well as the quantity you have in the room, will then determine the actual light level, which is known as lux. So what Guy's done in the next slide is he's done two designs. You're going to go through them.
All right, so here we've got two slides next to each other. Just 1 second, Stephen, go back to the original. So we've got... Okay, so here we've got two different slides based on the original 160 watt UFO high bay that we brought in. This is the 160 watt UFO high bay. All right, so from 2016 to 2018, this particular product had a efficiency of 130 lumens per watt. All right, so in the slide on the right, you will see that it's now increased to 170 lumens per watt. How does this happen? Well, like with computers, cell phones, the technology improves and the LEDs become more and more efficient over time. So on the left-hand slide, you'll see we have here a basic warehouse layout, a 50 meter by 30 meter warehouse with a 12 meter mounting height. We need to get to 100 lux at about 0.75 on this one, at the height of 0.75 meters. So on this particular Relux diagram, we required 20 fittings to get to that 100 lux level. Whereas on the new spec version of the high bay with a better light efficiency, we find that we only require 12 fittings to get to the same 100 lux light intensity. So there we are making a saving of 40% of your fittings, as well as 40% of the power consumption due to the reduced number of luminaires. We also find that uniformity is very important when it comes to designing. We can't design a space and have 1,000 lux in the middle, but then it goes to 50 lux on the outside. So we do need to make sure that your space is lit up suitably for the purpose involved.
Yeah, adding to that, you don't want to have an area in your workplace or in your warehousing where, I mean, if you're asking us for 100 lux to do a design for you, there's no point in having 500 lux in the corner and 50 lux over here. You want to make sure that the whole area is as uniform as possible so that you don't have dark and you don't have dark and bright spaces in between. Another important thing that Guy might have forgotten to mention with these designs is maintenance factor. And the reason, what happens is when Pioled does a design for you, our product is rated 50,000 hours, 5 years warranty. What we're going to do is we're going to say to you guys, what we're not going to do is we're not going to say, okay, cool, here's a design, there's 100 lux, and in a year's time or 2 years or 3 years, it goes below that level. You've asked us to do a design to a certain lux level, and we're going to ensure that that lux level will be maintained throughout the lifespan of the LED product. So if we're selling you a 5-year warranty product, we'll make sure that the required lux level will be maintained at the end of the 5-year period. So we use maintenance factors based on OB ratings and all the likes of it, which we will discuss in the next slide.
Okay. Thanks, Stephen. That's good.
Okay. So on the next slide here, we're going to talk about LB ratings and decay rates of LED products. So what is an LB rating? An LB rating is there so an end user or the consumer or the engineer or the consultant can see an LED product and they want to know how is this product going to decay throughout the lifespan of it. So the easiest way for us to explain it to you is L would be the percentage of lumen loss throughout the product's lifespan, whereas B will be the percentage of luminaires that will fail to reach the L rating or they'll fail to work completely. So the easiest way to do this is I've done a little example for you guys, which you can see at the bottom of the screen. We have a 200 watt LED product producing 20,000 lumens, rated at L80 B10 at 50,000 hours. So what that means is that at 50,000 hours of usage, the product will still maintain 80% of its initial lumen output, with 10% of the luminaires either failing to achieve the 80% mark or might not work at all. So if you've got a 20,000 lumen LED product, what it means at 50,000 hours, you will now have 16,000 lumens left. And 10% of, so if you've installed 100, 10 of those lights might fail to have achieved. So they might be on 14,500 lumens or 15,000 lumens, but 10% of them will fail to achieve that 16,000 lumen output. Another thing that I just want to quickly, because I know we're using the word luminaire, but not everyone might not understand what a luminaire is. So lamp, luminaire, what is the difference? If you have, and the easiest way for me to explain this, you have a vapor-proof body, an empty body, that is not a luminaire. It becomes a luminaire when you put the lamp inside the product. Then it is complete and it is now called a luminaire. If you have a lamp by itself, it's just a lamp. You have a complete product, it has now become a luminaire. Going on to the next slide, I just want to briefly touch on, if we have two different LED products, we've got my brand and we've got somebody else's brand, 1200 by 600 LED panels. Both of them, so you've got your 220 volt coming in, you've got your power supply, and then out your power supply is they're both being driven at 1500 milliamps. But you've got one product, which is 6,600 lumens, and one that is 6,000 lumens. They are both being driven at the exact same current, but one LED product is brighter than the other one. Why? And that purely boils down to the LED chip's efficacy. It does not mean that one product is being driven any harder than the other, because they are both being driven at 1500 milliamps. Just that the reason that the one product is that much brighter is due to the efficacy of the LED chips. All right, on to the next slide here. What we're going to do is introduce a couple of our LED products that we will be, having on show today as specials for you guys. So, as Robin had mentioned earlier in the webinar, these products here that we will be showing you guys today will be ones that you guys are able to purchase with your 10% discount. And and then you might get a free goodie as well. So we'll explain that. All right, so the first product that I want to show you guys is our 50 watt heavy duty coastal LED floodlight. This is a new product that has just been launched it has just landed in South Africa. This product comes in wattages of 20 watts, 30 watts, 50 watts, as well as, it hasn't arrived yet, but it's coming, the 100 watt and 200 watt variants. The LED chipsets on this particular product is Philips 3030 LED chips with a lumen output of 130 lumens per watt. It also will come in color temperatures of warm white, natural white, and cool white. Another nice, interesting feature about this product is you can see at the base of it an almost screw-like LED attachment, or not LED attachment, a screw-like attachment. And what that is it's a breather. And the reason we've installed the breather into this product here is because any excess moisture or condensation that may occur into the LED product, and it's almost like if you had a cold glass of water and you put it on the table and water got onto the surface. And it's the same thing that happens with LED products. So moisture gets in, we've got a non-return valve here that will pull that moisture out immediately and prevent moisture from dripping onto the LED chipset. Another nice feature of this product is it comes with a 1 meter installation cable. And on the 1 meter installation cable, it will make the electrician and the contractor's life that much easier when installing this product. The product also, the housing is made up of pure aluminium with an anti-corrosive and anti-chipping powder-coated finish. The product also has 304 stainless steel brackets, as well as bolts and screws on the front of it. We do also have, for this range of products, being the 20, 30, 50, 100, and 200 watt pole mount bracket accessories, which you can use if you have pole mount applications and you'd like to use this product almost like a street light. Finally, this product does come with a 5-year warranty. All right, on to the next one.
Thanks, Stephen. All right, the next product we want to demonstrate for you is the 160 watt high bay that we already discussed in this webinar a little bit. So let's see what goes into the makeup of this particular product. to have the LED chipset, which is a Epistar chipset. It's running at 170 lumens per watt, so it can deliver about 27,000 lumens to you. The lens is a 90-degree lens. We do also offer a 120-degree lens as well. The heatsink at the back we are using is not die-cast aluminium. Instead, we are using the aluminium heat fins, which are more efficient at dissipating the heat. The power supply that we are using is a Meanwell power supply, a Taiwanese Meanwell brand power supply. It has a 4 kV surge protection with undercurrent, overcurrent protection, as well as over temperature protection. And why is over temperature protection important? Well, in the one site we went to, we found that a rather large bird had decided to make a nest on top of the fitting, which obviously increased the heat and kicked in the over temperature protection. So what happens when that happens? The LED, the fitting turns itself off to protect the sensitive components. Once the bird's nest was removed, the light operates as normal without any internal damage whatsoever. This fitting is also IP65 rated. You can see the gland there, which means it is suitable for cold room applications and your freezer rooms up to -40 degrees as well. This product does come with a 5-year guarantee as well. And for installation, we can either do a suspension mount using a hook, or we can do a surface mount with this bracket as well.
Yeah. Another thing I just want to touch on with regards to this product is if you just look at the face of it, you will see that we have a heck of a lot of LED chips. Now, one of the things that people often ask me is they say to me, Stephen, your UFO high bay, it's 170 lumens per watt. Are you not driving it too hard? Are the chips not going to decay quickly? And, you know, what is the whole story behind that? Well, this product here, as you can see on the front of it, has 245 1-watt LED chips. 245 1-watt LED chips are only being driven at about 0.65 watts. So we are nowhere near driving those chips as hard as they are actually rated to be. So with that being said, the lifespan of this product is phenomenal. And yeah, you can be ensured that you're not going to have a problem when using this product. Finally, the last product that I want to touch on is our backlit LED panels. What I've done here is I've actually opened a backlit LED panel so you guys can see exactly what goes on behind the scenes. This backlit panel, you'll notice, is a lot cheaper than our edge-lit panels, and the main reason for that is, well, there's less material when putting this product together. Remember, with the edge-lit LED panel, you get the LEDs that run all the way along the edge like this, but they need to be directed downwards to the surface. So whereas a backlit LED panel has got the LEDs situated at the back of it, and all that's required is a diffuser plate over the front. You'll notice on the front of each individual of the LED chips, there's almost like a little bubble lens. And what that bubble lens is, it's actually PMMA. So this product here will not discolor or yellow through extended usage. You also notice that the product is actually 30 mils in thickness, and because of the thickness of the product, the heat of the LEDs will not reach the diffuser. So you will not get that yellowing phenomenon that is, you know, often noticed with LED panels. With that being said, it must be noted that our edge-lit LED panels, you know, the thinner guys, those also will not yellow or discolor through extended usage because we have a light guide in it that is of PMMA. It is not a PS light guide, it is PMMA, and that does not discolor through extended usage. Even if you had to run it at 24/7, it's not going to discolor. This panel here, 600 by 600, and comes in 6x6 as well as a 12x6 variant. And we offer it in color temperatures of 4000K as well as 6000K. We do have, as I mentioned earlier in the webinar, our CCT variant, which is arriving shortly. And that will come in color temperatures through the flick of a dip switch of 4000 Kelvin, 5000 Kelvin, and 6000 Kelvin. Our drivers on this product, we offer a standard 3-year warranty. However, if you would like a 5-year warranty on it, you can either upgrade the driver through us or you can go with our dimmable driver option. This product's LED chips produce 100 lumens per watt and and the driver comes with a power factor greater than 0.9 as well as a 2 kV surge protection. Finally, on this product here, the LEDs come with a CRR greater than 83 as well as a 120-degree beam angle. All right, let me get out of that slide. All right, so you're going to go through the specials.
All right, so the specials that we have for you today are 10% off either the high bay in the 6000 Kelvin,
or the heavy-duty premium range LED floodlights,
in 20 watt, 30 watt, and 50 watt,
or the backlit LED panels, which will be your 600 by 600 4000K natural light, your 600 by 600 6000K cool light, or your 1200 by 600 4000K natural light, or your 1200 by 600 6000K cool light.
Okay, for the first 10 customers today, you will receive this little baby flood that we have, the multi-purpose 7-watt floodlight, as well as this designer Pioled cap that Stephen is wearing here.
Yeah. And then also, just finally, before we take questions from you guys, we just want to say a big thank you to Robin and Silvana from the Voltex marketing team and all of the Voltex guys for doing the excellent job that they have done in order to put a whole series of webinars together. And we are super excited to do more for you guys in the future.
Oh, thank you guys both so much. That was an incredible presentation, and thank you for your time. And more importantly, how exciting is that offer? We have launched the button, so please do click on it. You are able to click on it and it will open a new tab, so you'll still be able to hear us as well as browse through those products mentioned previously. As the guys mentioned, there is a special limited edition gift for the first 10 offers, so please do go ahead and purchase online. Voltex has recently launched a click and collect option as well, so you are welcome to select that option, and we have more than 2,500 Pargo collection sites, if I'm not mistaken. So please do have a look over there. But we do have a couple of questions. If anyone else has any questions, please do send them through now. But I'll start at the bottom. A question here from Rowan. He said, my question is, why are ME-LED floodlights with motion sensor failing so quickly? Do I need to put in extra surge protection?
Okay, so something you want to answer?
So with the motion sensor floodlight, while the body of the floodlight is IP65, the actual motion sensor is only IP44. So it is imperative for that unit to be installed in a location where it is under the eaves or it does have some sort of cover over it. Also, it is susceptible to moisture getting inside the motion sensor.
Yeah, and I must say, for a lot of the motion sensor floodlights that we've gotten back, unfortunately, the sensors can only be IP44. We have tried to do it on IP65. It just doesn't work out. So unfortunately, in all of them, or not all of them, but most of them that we find to fail, it will be that there might be some sort of moisture in the unit. So ideally, you want to make sure that they're situated under the eaves or under the rafters of the, at the installation site.
I think that's a fantastic answer. A question here from Silvana. She says, what color temperature is ideal for a baby room?
Before we go to that, also, do I need to put in extra surge protection? It is always suggested or recommended that you do put in additional surge protections just to protect the, the LED floodlights from possible failure if there is a surge.
Yeah, I think those are pretty vital.
Right, John,
especially with the load shedding as well.
Especially with the load shedding.
It's very hard to control the power situation in South Africa at the moment.
No, for sure.
We know too well. Just onto that baby room color temperature.
I would suggest a warm white color. 3000 Kelvin would be my preferred choice for lighting up a baby's room. When my children were young, we only ever had warm white on.
Yeah, and I must say 3000K is nice, and it's an inviting color temperature. It generally just puts your mind to ease and you can relax, and that is why a lot of hotels in particular go the 3000 Kelvin route. It really is a relaxing color temperature, and it's amazing what it can do to your mental state as well.
I think that's a great recommendation. We got a comment here from Depeche. I'm not sure if you want to just respond. He said, we've used a lot of Pioled Lighting products and are very pleased with the end result. However, we have also noted high complaints from your end user with regards to your motion sensor floodlights, which are not switching on when there is motion at night.
Okay, so also you'll notice at the back of the LED motion sensor floodlights, there's 3 different settings that that come with the product. A lot of the times you'll find that the mistake when installing it is guys do not turn that sensitivity all the way up, or they won't put it to halfway. What they will do is they'll turn that motion sensor where it's got the LUX, and they'll turn it all the way to work in pitch black, not dark time. Unfortunately, if there is any other external light in the area and you've got it on the pitch black setting, it will pick up that there's still a bit of light and it will not activate the unit. You have to make sure that it is at least in the halfway position in order for it to turn on when there's movement, you know, and especially if there is a bit of external lighting going on.
Just to add to that, Stephen, if it has been set correctly and the problem does persist, Pioled is more than happy to come out to site to inspect the unit on site as well.
For sure. Yeah, as we say, it's generally is that Lux setting on the back of it. Otherwise, you might want to just turn up the sensitivity on the motion sensor floodlight, which is also an option at the back of the unit.
That's a fantastic suggestion. I'm going to move on over to Kurt here. He says, why is raw lumens, which will always be higher, listed on your brochure, whereas the actual lumen outputs is more relevant as it relates to the luminaire performance? So, Kurt, raw lumens, we do not put that on any of our brochures or catalogs, not ever since I've been a Pioled Lighting. We'll only always quote effective lumen outputs. I agree 110% with what you are saying. As I said earlier in the webinar, raw lumens it won't really mean much to the end user. It's more for us when we're purchasing the LED chips. So that's not something we'd put on our brochure. It's always going to be the effective lumen outputs. And that is often tested through, you know, at the labs, through the gonio photometers when they're creating the IES files and etc. That makes sense. Another question here from Depeche. Your 200 watt floods have meanwhile drivers with a 3 kV surge. What driver and surge does your ultra slim IP65 LED vapor proof luminaire have?
And I go for that. Okay. Offhand, good question. You stopped me there. Just checking your little brochure there. Sorry, no, the problem is we have got quite a range of LED products. So it's not always on the top of our head. So
for sure.
You guys just going to go through it now. It is a built-in driver. So what are we on there? We've got a 1 kV built-in surge protection on that LED product. So what you'll find if anything had to go wrong and it was a surge-related problem, 9 out of 10 times we'll find that the little MOV, the metal oxide varistor, is the component that would have failed, and that is always indicative of a surge. So but we do work hard in trying to, you know, obviously with the South African market, we know that there has been a lot of load shedding that goes on, and every time we bring in a product and the new batches come, there's always an improvement based on the previous batches that, you know, we look at what's gone wrong and we'll always make it better. So we've noticed that now the surge protection, or that we get a lot more load shedding going on. So we have increased the surge protection on, in particular, our nano range of floodlights. We've increased that up to a 3 kV surge protection now. So, you know, just trying to, I mean, if you guys have a faulty product, it also affects us, and it's not great for us. Yeah. So we want to try and minimize that as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. A question from John here. Could you please indicate where the driving gear of the 480 watt and 960 watt heavy duty floodlights are housed? Is this integral to the fitting, or does the gear come in an additional housing?
So the gear on the 480 and the 960 sits behind the LED floodlight. So it is a isolated unit. It's a meanwhile power supply as well with a 4 kV, so 6 kV
surge protection.
Yes.
And you'll see there's almost like a little guard housing covering the back of where the driver is situated. It's a little guard plate. It doesn't mean, it's not a waterproof plate, it's just a little guarded plate. You know, prevents, as Guy said earlier, maybe if bird nests or whatever had to build on it. So yeah, we've got a little guard plate over the back of it, and it is an IP rated driver, so it's fully waterproof, and you'll find it at the back of the LED floodlights. Remember, on the 480 and the 960s, we do have different optics for it. So it's not only your standard 90-degree optic, we have the option of a 20-degree, as well as a 140 by 100 if you want to go the asymmetric route. And each of those modules, so the 480 is made up of 4 modules, and you can rotate each one individually.
We have a thank you for the information here from Radu. I apologize if I pronounced that incorrectly, but always appreciate the positive feedback. Another question from Kurt. Do you offer different beam angles, optics for your more industrial floodlights, 200 watts and higher?
Yeah,
so
120 watts, 240 watts, 480s, 960s. Yes, we do offer the different optics on those particular units. So we can do a 20-degree optic, we can do the 90-degree optic, or the asymmetric optic of the 140 by 100.
Yeah, and also, I mean, if there is a project that's on the go, and you know, Kurt said to us, listen, I actually want to go for the 60-degree beam angle, it's not a problem. It is something we can bring in for the project specific. It's not much of a big change for us to do. We'll just bring it in and we can change them out for them.
Fantastic. A question from Jason. Does the power factor affect the quality of the LED?
So, okay, power factor is it's a very confusing term for a lot of guys because of the misinformation that has been spread about power factor. You know, a lot of guys thought, okay, cool, I've got a 20-watt LED product and it's got a 0.5 power factor. That means the product now uses 40 watts of electricity. And unfortunately, it doesn't do that. It doesn't use 40 watts worth of electricity. It still only draws 40 watts worth of power. What power factor really relates to is the current of the LED product. So if you've got a 0.5 power factor and you say, as again, you've got a 20 watts LED product and your current, you should be drawing about 0.1 of an amp, 100 milliamps. If you have a 0.5 power factor, you'll be drawing about 200 milliamps. That might not be the calculation, sorry, my maths off the top of my head is not great, but it's going to be something like that, you know. So your power factor, the lower your power factor, the more current you'll be using to work that LED product. So it's not necessarily going to affect you, it's going to affect Eskom, because Eskom, the strain on the Eskom lines, but Eskom can only bore you for the watts. They can't bore you for the current. Sure. So where it is going to be, where it is critical to have good power factor, you know, is in offices and that type of an installation. You know, you've worked your whole system and you've got different breakers. And if your system is designed for a 6 amp system, well, if you have a 6 amp or a 30 amp breaker, whatever you've got, and now because you're using a lower power factor product, your current is actually going to be higher. You might find that it keeps tripping your breakers. So that's, yeah, just you got to be careful. It depends. For residential applications, power factor is not really a problem. But when it comes to the more commercial side of things, we always want to ensure that you have a high power factor.
Absolutely. Another question here from John. Please also indicate the price difference between beam angles, if any. For example, extra narrow beam, medium beam, and a wide beam.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a bit of a price difference.
It depends. It depends on the product that you're going for, because obviously the 120, 240, 480, 960 have different quantities of modules. So the more modules that you have, the price will go up accordingly. But for that, you just speak to one of the guys at Voltex and they will be able to assist you with pricing if you need.
Absolutely. Jason has asked, from past experience, we have experienced no driver LED floodlight and been advised not to use no driver LED. What are your LED driver or no driver?
From past experience, we have, sorry, could you just repeat that one? From past experience, we have experienced no driver LED flood and advised not to use driver on board. What is your opinion? You want to take that one?
Well, we've had our nano range on the market now going on probably about 3 or 4 years, and it's been very well received in the market. People are happy with it. For me, personally, I use it. I have had no issues with it whatsoever. But we do also offer the the driver option as well with this particular unit. So on this unit, you have the isolated driver at the back here. And so we do offer both types, whether you want the driver on board option or the isolated driver.
Always remember, your driver on board is going to be cheaper than your isolated driver floodlights and that type of products. But your driver on board isn't. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be bad. That's why we, with our nano range, have increased the surge protection up to 3 kV. The product's been in the market for a hell of a long time now. And a lot of guys have grown to love it. And as I say, what we've done is every time we'll always improve. Last year, we saw that the load shedding was coming back. So we just bumped up the surge protection to try and account for additional failures. But as I said earlier, additional surge protection is always advised.
Absolutely. A last question here from Rowan. Do you have LED lights that is suitable for flame-proof or explosion-proof uses?
Unfortunately not.
Unfortunately not. It is a very specialized, type of product that is required for explosion-proof and all of that. So yeah, unfortunately, we don't have anything yet, but maybe soon.
I think we can take one last question here from Jason saying, do all Pioled products come from China?
Well, Jason, in China, you do get what you pay for. If you want to get a very cheap product, they'll manufacture a cheap product. But you'll see that Opel, Ledvance, a lot of the big manufacturers, Philips, they are all manufacturing in China as well.
Yeah, a lot of, and it's the funny thing about it is if you take a look at your edge-lit panels, everyone was in China and everyone was price, and everyone went PS diffusers. And what happens? Bang! All of the lights turned yellow. So you get what you pay for, as Guy said. That's why all of our products will have PMMA light cards, and the reason we do that is to prevent the yellowing. And that's just a small example. But the likes of Opel, Ledvance, and all the big manufacturers, even Bosch and Schwaber, they're all bringing stuff in from China. It does not mean that it's going to be a terrible product. It's just about the R&D and the QC, which we focus heavily on to ensure that the products that we bring into the country are that's going to be safe for the end user and they comply with all regulations. So
absolutely. And then just a thank you to you both. Thank you for your time again. Thank you for the awesome presentation, and a thank you to everyone that tuned in with us today. It's lovely to see the familiar faces, and we hope that the new faces will join us again in the future. We will have future Pioled webinars, so do stay tuned, as well as some other engaging and exciting topics. So do stay tuned to the Voltex social media page and our website. That offer is still live. It's valid for 24 hours only. And we will share it with you in an email with the replay link. So please do go on the Voltex website and buy Pioled products.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Voltex. Thanks, Robert. Thanks, everybody, for joining us.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Bye.